Namaskar and welcome back. So how are all of you? The objective of this video is to discuss about an atom. Atoms are found everywhere and make up everything. This wall here is made up of atoms. This plank here, even my jacket and even the light I use, the plastic used in it. Everything is made up of atoms. Atoms make up molecules and molecules make up matter. The objective of this video, as I told you earlier, will be to discuss about an atom. I made a diagram here and I'll be showing you the diagram and trying to explain you the figure how an atom looks. And after that, I'll be trying to take you through some of the uses of atoms. I mean, where are the atoms used and why is it important to know about atoms in electronics? So let's get started.
Imagine cutting a paper. You can cut and cut and cut and so on. But what is the smallest you can get? Or how small can you get? Well, the smallest stable substance in the universe is an atom. And this is how it looks. It actually is a little more complicated than this with probability and all of it involved. However, for simple understanding, let's stick to this. The basic particle of all matter is an atom. An atom has a central sphere called a nucleus and some rings around it, as you can see here. The nucleus is made up of two other particles called protons, shown in red, and neutrons, represented in blue. To understand why nucleons exist, which are just what neutrons and protons are called together, let us perform an analogy with an empty bottle and a filled bottle. Which do you think will fall due to wind? Something similar is the story of an atom. Nucleons are just mass particles that give the atom stability. By nature, roughly 2/5 to half of these nucleons have a positive charge. The particles with the positive charge are called protons, and the ones with no charge are called neutrons. There is one more important component to an atom, and that is an electron. Each electron has a fixed negative charge, and there are just enough electrons to counteract the positive charge due to the protons. Interesting, isn't it? Nature always tries to make things neutral. For example, if there is a north pole to a magnet, there is also a south pole to a magnet. Or even simpler, if there's more water at some place and higher, then it automatically flows to places where less water is there or more deep places. In nature, opposites attract to make everything neutral. So the North Pole attracts the South Pole in magnets, and many more examples. The rings you see here is where the electrons revolve and spin around. If you're carefully listening to me, a question that would arise is, why do electrons revolve around the nucleus? And just like opposite poles of a magnet, why doesn't a proton attract these electrons? And why does an electron crash into a nucleus? If that is what you're thinking, then you're a true scientist. Do you remember sitting on flying chairs in carnivals and melas? They are a big rotating mass with chairs attached to them. I am sorry for the terrible drawing, but this is how it looks. So these are chairs and these are ropes, and you sit here. When it starts spinning, you feel that you will be flung off, but there's always a rope holding you. If the rope is also cut, then surely you will be flung off, with a chair being the only thing protecting you. Somewhat. The force is called centrifugal force, or the force that tries to get you away from your favorite carnival ride. Similarly, in an atom, the opposite charges attract. So the plus attracts the minus, and also the centrifugal force on the electron, due to which the electron nor attaches with the combines with the nucleus or flies away. So this is why an electron doesn't crash into the nucleus. Now let's understand a bit more about the rings of an atom. The rings here cannot take electrons randomly. The first ring can take 2, then 8, then 8, and then 18. I didn't draw all of them here, but that is the case of how it would be. And this happens for stability. So as the atomic number goes up, the electrons goes up. So there's an atomic number 1, 2, 3. By the way, Atomic number is just how many protons a nucleus has, and mass number is the sum of the neutrons and protons. An atom with only one proton and one electron is called a hydrogen atom. Therefore, this atom is the lightest of all. The number of protons is called the atomic number, and the number of neutrons and protons is together is called the mass number. This I told you earlier. Let's talk about a heavier atom than hydrogen. Let's say silicon. It has an atomic number 14. This means that it has 14 protons. As you see this atom represents silicon. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 electrons, right? And somewhere atomic number is also the number of electrons in an atom, but it can be less. So we'll stick with the figure of protons. So electrons, why they can be less, I'll explain you in the next video. But here's a task for you. Find out about these two elements called boron and phosphorus. The number of electrons they possess, the protons, the neutrons, their mass number, everything about them. We'll see that in the next video.
Now that we kind of understand atoms, let us see an example of a place where having the knowledge of atoms is useful in electronics. I would say diodes and transistors, for example. Uh, they are extremely very important in electronics, especially transistors. A transistor is made up of two kinds of material, a p-type and an n-type. The n-type material has more of electrons and the p-type material has less of electrons, if I might say that. Yeah. Uh, Transistors are extremely very important in electronics, and every device, even your smartphone, your laptop, TV, everything has transistors in millions and billions. So atoms, or having the knowledge of atoms, are useful in building transistors, which are eventually useful in building every electronics device. If you don't quite understand a transistor yet, then for now it is good to understand that transistor is kind of a switch, but I will be covering a transistor in depth in my future video. So that's it for now, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.